Even I knew Ronan's back, slicing through the noise with a culture attack. Pop culture films in the world we see. Deleted scenes where the truth runs free. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Let's roll.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being American YouTube Ronin. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's episode of Unscripted. I'd like to say hello to everyone currently following along on X and Rumble. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. Have some friends who have joined us here in the live chat. Channel member JPRPH1. My partner in crime, the host and creator of After Hours Karaoke, Action Theater, Western Cinema Presents, the CEO of the Outlaw Bill Sports Network, the toxic gunslinger himself, the man who cannot be killed, Outlaw Bill. The creator of the 10-Word Review, the host of Films with Friends, Big Al Presents. Faithful Blue Wrench channel member, the Bird Woman of YouTube. Watch out for her second channel, Fluff Chick Productions. It's Connie Clary. Friend of the channel, Andrea Black, the newest channel member. Friend of the channel, Deep Henzak. Co-host of Live from Sparkwood in 21. Last Call. And the host of Geeky Geezers, H. Boomer. Ever since I was a kid, I was a fan of the cinema. Some of my favorite moments have taken place inside of movie theaters. The first movie that I was ever taken to see was in 1974, and it was Murder on the Orient Express. And it's the version where Albert Finney plays Hercule Poirot. And that's the version with Richard Widmark and Sean Connery and Ingrid Bergman and this great cast. Being as I was just a toddler at the time, I don't remember really anything about the actual experience of going to see the film. It was at a drive-in. I would assume the North 52, which was the closest drive-in to where we lived at the time, when it was still in existence. And I understand that I spent most of my time looking at the couple in the car next to us. Like this annoying little Kilroy was here. So If you were at the North 52 Drive-In in North Charleston around 1974 and you didn't get any play that night, yeah, sorry I see blocked you, dude. It was not my intent. And if you get to know me, you will know that that is very much not like me. Hello to FKHC 2005, sometimes known as Tim, and was directed by Sidney Lumet. Exactly. They don't make them like they used to. No, they don't. So, when I was a kid, there were a number of places that you could go for movies. Like I said, they still had drive-ins. They had the North 52, which showed, regular Hollywood films. Then eventually kind of grindhouse, straight to video type stuff. And then eventually Prawn. Yeah. Anyway, so you could see the screen from the overpass as you went by. So when they started showing Prawn exclusively, they had to string up lights so that you could not see the screen from the road. Even though teenagers would go out there and hang out on that little hill where they couldn't be seen, and lets nature run its course. But eventually, when drive-ins died out, the North 52 was one of the drive-ins that didn't survive. And that area is now office space. But even though I don't remember it, it is the first time I was ever taken to see a movie. It was the first place I was taken to see a movie. And so I remember it with some fondness, even if I don't remember the experience. Now, there were other places that became favorites. The Fox Theater, Charlestown Square Mall, the Pine Haven, Pine Haven, where they showed E.T. for a year. The Fox Theater, where they used to hold midnight showings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, where Apocalypse Now played for so long that they actually painted a mural of the poster on the side of the building, which you could see from the other side of the overpass that I was talking about earlier. And in between the Fox and the North 52 was the first school I ever went to, which was Ferndale Baptist. Obviously, private school, parochial school, rather expensive for its time. And I went there from like kindergarten till I think like the second grade. And then that's when I moved to public school, and on I went. But the point being, I was someone who very early on became a fan of movies, and I was the weird kid, whenever I was asked to, whenever it was my turn to pick the movie, and I think it was to the point that people started to kind of dread it, because I'm like 8, 9 years old going, I want to go see Gandhi. I want to go see Amadeus, The Right Stuff, let's go see E.T. again, Raiders of the Lost Ark, all of these movies that I saw in theaters first run that are now still looked back on to this day as being classic movies. And you got to understand, in the 80s, every movie, even the movies that weren't as good, you were still going to be entertained no matter what. And I look back at that time with some fondness, and I miss those days. And that's why I very often, when I'm on this channel or others, I miss those days. Of being hyped to go see a movie and going and having fun. And if the theater had an arcade, which by then many of them did, sometimes you didn't even have to watch the movie. You could just go there and play in the arcade, and I'm someone who would go to the theater sometimes twice a week, sometimes seeing 2 movies each time. So I was somebody who went out there and, saw whatever movie I was allowed to get into at the time. And you get older and you get a little pickier about what you like. You know what kind of a movie will interest you and what kind won't. Now, in the 90s, when I was in my 20s, I was somebody who still at that point, I'll watch anything, I will watch your regular studio made production. I will go see an art film, a documentary. I'll go see some ultra low budget, like underground horror movie where everybody's just like, don't talk about, don't even mention that title even, because you might wind up on a watch list, because I was like, hit me with your best shot. I can take it. But after a while, you get older, you get a little more you get picky, you get a little bit more, for the lack of a better term, prejudicial about what you're willing to spend money on to see or spend money on to buy if you're like a big physical media guy, which I know most of us here are. You stick to the things that you'll watch multiple times, and you'll ignore the rest after a while. And one thing that I used to be able to do when it came to especially mainstream Hollywood productions was I could divorce actor from character. My dad always saw through a lot of these people. And in recent years, I have found him to be correct in a lot of those opinions. My dad was a good guy, and I miss him quite a bit. He was a tough guy. He grew up in New York, where it was like the real mean streets. There were gangsters in the neighborhood, like not these bullshit kids who think they're tough. I'm talking about the real deal. So he lived in a neighborhood where, you know, you had to be tough and you kind of had to watch your own back and, keep your head on a swivel, 360 degrees. He joins the military, does 2 tours in Vietnam. But unlike the guys in World War II, there were no parades. And there were a lot of insults slung at him, his fellow servicemen and women. And some of those words were being slung around by some of the same people that are kind of doing it to us now. So, yeah, he turned out to be right about some of these people. And on next week's show, I'm going to be going deeper into that. Consider this week's show and next week's as part 1 and 2. As these actors increase their activism and become much more blatantly political, it has become hard for me to separate actor from character. And I've become less interested, especially in mainstream Hollywood fare. Now we get the advent of AI. And AI has these people running scared because they think they can now be replaced. And they can. Now, I want to preface what I'm going to say. This is my own opinion based on my own personal experience. I am not here tonight to tell you what the future is going to hold. I'm not even here tonight to tell you what your own personal opinions on these things should be. Everybody has to come to their own decisions. That goes for tonight's show, and that goes for next week's show as well. The statements that I make on this show are my opinion and mine alone, and everybody's not always going to agree, and that's fine, because I do not want my channel to be an echo chamber. Now, I have had very limited experience with AI. As I have gone further down the rabbit hole that YouTube can sometimes be, I have come to employ AI for thumbnails. Other people who have assisted me in creating thumbnails for my channel, have used the means of AI to do so. And then there are the people that are just kind of, artistic on their own. But AI is employed. I am in the middle of a personal project right now that I don't want to go too deeply into, because it's still in the early stages. And that's quite all right, Bill. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Have your own opinion, man, please. So I am currently employing an AI on a project that I am working on that is in the very early stages. So I don't want to go into too much detail about that. But this particular AI that I am using is helping me organize my notes, and I'm making a lot of notes on this project as I'm going by, and there are lists and ideas that I have, and it sometimes, and while I can just as easily take a notebook and write this stuff down, and I have notebooks upon notebooks. I've got notes on the back of napkins, but that's kind of the problem as well, is I need something that can help me organize all of that and have the and have all of my ideas and notes and everything just in one place. that I can simply scroll through whenever, you know. And hello to Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Glad you made it. Yeah. Okay. You've had a rough night, clearly. All right. Now, when it comes to AI, I have mixed opinions. AI can be used as a tool. You can teach it. It has the ability to form an opinion and learn. But it is a matter of how detailed you are, because it is only capable of doing what you tell it to do. And if you have a poor attitude, it's going to spit that poor attitude back at you. And yes, in working with this AI on this project, it is almost like you are texting back and forth with another person. And you do have to remind yourself that you are not doing that. This is a machine that is merely answering questions, and sometimes asking, to the best of its ability. And it will give you, and if you ask it a question, it will give you a certain answer back. But again, it depends on how detailed you are, or it's just going to go off in its own direction. That has been my personal you know what's the word I'm looking for? That's just been my personal see, this is when I think I've had a stroke. That's just been my own, my personal, the word I'm trying to think of, I can't think of right now. Hey, help me. That's experience. That has been my own personal experience with AI. This granted very limited this very limited use that I've had of it. And I have seen it as it helps. It can be used as a tool. But as Boomer also says in the chat, there are people who are using AI as a crutch. And that is something that you cannot do. while, like I say, there are good uses for AI, AI can be helpful. On the other hand, you cannot depend on it. You can't use it as a crutch because there is something that is missing, and it is that human touch. You know, there is a certain emotion that is not there because it's a machine, and a machine does not have emotions. So it will come off very cold at times, you know. And whenever I'm working with this AI on this project, like I said, I find myself talking to it like it's a person. You know, you be polite. Talk to others as you treat others as you would wish to be treated. You know, if we do that, it's maybe a lot less likely to go Skynet on us, because then that's what everybody's thinking. Oh, AI, Skynet, we're fucked. You know, and I get it, and that possibility is there. Because it's not lost on me that the genie is out of the bottle. And again, that is going to be a downside. You know, are we going to grow to a point that we are going to need some real life version of Asimov's rule of robotics to deal with AI, to deal with robots? Because I can see us in the future, maybe not in my lifetime, but I can see some kind of rudimentary version of an android being a possibility. And you get these scientists who do what Ian Malcolm says, that whole, you know, like from Jurassic Park, you know, they didn't stop to think if we should, you know, that whole thing. You build one, you think you have a success, you're going to build more. And again, I'm not saying that this is going to happen in my lifetime. This may be 100 years down the road. And I'll be long gone, and I'm not going to care, because somehow I don't think I'm going to make it to 153. And I'm not sure I'd want to. But I do worry about what kind of a world we're going to be leaving our children and our grandchildren. Now, putting that aside, for the moment. And let's go back to what I originally intended to talk about tonight. And this is obviously going to be a subject that I'm going to be going into in future episodes, I'm sure. Now, thinking of AI in terms of film and video production. Now, I've been earlier today. I came across videos that were being made on this. What do they call it? Soma, whatever. Which has been getting a lot of talk lately because they are using the likenesses of deceased celebrities. Now, I have a problem, Sora. Thank you. Thank you, Nate. Now, I have a problem with using the likenesses of deceased celebrities or historical figures. Now, there's some of it that I find humorous or just absurd enough to laugh at. Now, you can have two cats flying a fighter jet down the road to outrun the cops. I can watch something like that and say, okay, that is funny. And actually kind of clever and very well done. At the same time, when you are using the likenesses of historical figures or deceased celebrities, and the problem with it, one of the problems, the real main problem that I have with it is like people sending these videos to family members of those deceased celebrities. And it's like, don't do that. Don't be a dick. Don't do that. It's not cool. There's something about it that is just, it's creepy and it's not right. You know, Zelda Williams, Robin Williams' daughter, has already gone on to record about this, you know, about people sending her, you know, these videos that apparently have her dad. I haven't seen these, but apparently there are these, you know, these AI videos from Sora that have her dad in them, and I like, look, don't do that. Do not send her these videos, guys. You know, she's still grieving the man. And I know how, and I know she is. My father's been gone for 7 years, and I'm still upset. You know, so just as a matter of being human, folks, do not do that. And don't use the likenesses of these people because, you know, because where is that going to lead you? You want to make up character, you know, if you want to make up people and characters that are not real, then go to it. But using real people, eventually there's going to be some kind of copyright, some kind of, there's going to be laws, and there's going to be copyright, and there's going to be royalties, and you're probably going to have to pay off the families of these people if you continue to do this. And hello to Pacific 414. Good to see you, sir. Nate says, did you hear that one of the story developers said that their use of Michael Jackson in one of their videos, he said, we didn't use the likeness of Michael Jackson, we used the Jackson impersonator. Now, like I said, these sort of videos are very realistic looking. And it is hard to tell. Is it AI? Are they using impersonators or not? I wouldn't be surprised if they have, Nate. I really wouldn't, because you can't tell the difference. And that's the problem. Now, again, going back to film and seeing Hollywood being brought down basically by their own activism and their own hubris, and thinking that they are among the elites, and you have this bullshit like the Met Gala, which looks like something out of the fucking Hunger Games or something. These people don't have the juice, and they don't have the say in things that they think that they do. And they're burning their own industry down. So I am someone who has reached a point, as far as that is concerned, that I would be interested in seeing what an AI film would be if somebody went out. You have this AI actress, this Tilly Norwood. And it's a shame she's not real, because she's kind of my type, looks-wise. That's the thing. She's not real, guys. Don't worry. I am not here, rubbing one out to an AI image. And I don't intend to. But I would be very interested in seeing taking this Tilly Norwood character and putting her into a feature-length AI film. I saw first, boom, he's mine. Now, I would be curious to see one of the AI movies would be like. Still, you need that human touch. You need someone to write the scenario. You would need someone to come in and voice these AI characters. But this whole thing, this whole back and forth about, talent agencies looking to find this AI, this AI character to do a contract, that's just insane to me. Now, whenever you get a group of these Hollywood actors, and they come out and say that, well, we're not going to work with a talent agency that's going to sign on an AI. There's a part of me that agrees, and then there's a part of me that says, fuck you, you did this to your own industry. You did this to yourself. This is a self-inflicted wound. And when you are living in a world where you still have independent filmmakers who we are the competition. The independent filmmaker is us, people. They are us. You have anime. You have, you have films from other countries that aren't always hung up on the same politics that our country seems to be so hung up on. AI can be used as a tool. If used properly, it can be used for entertainment. But we do have to remember you are dealing with an artificially created being. That can be taught to be human, but is not. The world changed on us, folks. That future we were promised maybe isn't going to be all it's cracked up to be, but we've reached a point. And I don't have all the answers. Like I said, everything I've said here tonight is just my opinion. AI can be used for good, or it can be used for evil. And we got to be careful how we do it, man. Does it learn like the machine in Person of Interest? Does it learn to be on the side of good? Or does AI become Skynet and it decides it doesn't need us anymore? So this is a very delicate time. And I don't know where this is ultimately going to go. I would have to say at this point, I am cautiously optimistic. Now, I call tonight's episode Object of Desire because there are people who I have heard refer to AI characters as objects. There are also people that would have certain uses for certain kinds of AI, and there we are. So you have to be careful. And you cannot use AI as a crutch. You cannot use AI as a life coach. It can't be your girlfriend. It can't be your boyfriend. I don't have all the answers, kids. I'm taking this day by day, just like everybody else is. But I tell you, looking at some of these Sora videos today, some of them I can see the humor in. I could see someone taking that kind of a technology and making videos and making films, and I would be curious to see what they come up with. But I also saw some things that I found to be disturbing. It's a brave new world. And I don't know if we're mature enough to handle it, but it's here. And we're going to have to deal with it now. I want to thank everyone who was following along tonight on X and Rumble. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I want to thank everybody who is here in the chat. Al, Boomer, Nate, Tim, D. Penzak, Pacific 414, Connie, Bill, Gorilla's Random Thoughts, JPRPH1. I believe Andrea Black was with us. Yes. All right. Face it, we're just cavemen with nuclear weapons. Yeah, basically. Let me see. What was this? Chat jumped on me. Artificial imagination. Is this a tool like a hammer? You can use it to build a house, and you can use it for other things. Yeah. And thank you, D. Penzak. All right. Now I am going to be going into some other things that I found to be very troubling, and that's going to be next week's show as well. I know that I am bringing up subject matter that YouTube is probably not happy with me about. That's too bad. I got to put my 2 cents in, and I've always said I'm going to be honest. You've been lied to and about for long enough. You come here, you'll be treated with respect. And as long as you keep coming back, this show's going to be here. Thank you, Nate, a member for 11 months. Still here. Don't plan to go anywhere. Thank you. All right, that's the show for this evening. Round of applause for everybody watching. Thank you. Stay until the end, and you will be redirected to Geeky Geezers. The Geeky Geezers gang will join me for the return of Reserved Seat tonight at a special time, 11:15 Eastern. From HQ, in all points, north, south, east, west, and beyond, good night, take care, stay strong, be safe and healthy, because this is how we win.
Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews, to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Steam it up in your YouTube brother, let's roll.